He wrote the date of his death 7 years before it arrived. Not in a diary, not in a letter to loved ones. In a scientific paper, complete with formulas, graphs, and citations. And his colleagues laughed. Until the day they stopped. Whoa. His name was David Long, an ordinary statistician from Edinburgh. Not a prophet, not a mystic, a man who believed only in numbers his entire life. That is precisely why what he did can be explained by neither science nor chance. In 2003, he began noticing a pattern, not in other people's data, in his own life. His grandfather's birth date, his great-grandfather's death date, the age at which his father died. David laid it all out on a sheet of paper and saw something he should not have seen. A mathematical sequence.
Almost perfect, as if, in his family, death ran on a schedule. He decided to test it. That was a mistake. The deeper he dug, the clearer the picture became. He retrieved the archives of 4 generations of his family, transcribed everything into a spreadsheet, ran the model. The model output a date, November 14th, 2010. His own age on that day, 51 years, 8 months, 14 days. Exactly the same as his father's, and his grandfather's, and his great-grandfather's, as far as the records allowed. David stared at the screen for a long time. Then he closed his laptop. Then he opened it again. The numbers hadn't changed. He didn't tell his wife. He didn't tell his children. He published the paper in an obscure academic journal under a neutral title about genetic mortality patterns, and hid the main conclusion in the appendix on the last page in small print, as if he hoped no one would read that far. No one did. While he was alive, for the next 7 years, he lived with that date inside him. He said it changed everything, and nothing. He still went to work. He still had dinner with his family. He still argued about football with his neighbor. But every morning, upon waking, he would open his phone and look at the calendar, not out of fear, out of a strange morbid curiosity. In 2008, he was diagnosed with cancer, early stage, highly treatable. The doctors were optimistic. Dave was not. Not because he didn't believe in medicine, because the date was already written, and he understood the body would find a way. He started keeping a diary, detailed, almost clinical. Each day he recorded his condition, his thoughts, random coincidences. He was searching for, or perhaps creating, evidence that the pattern was real. The line between observation and self-suggestion blurred with every page. This question tormented him more than the date itself. What if he hadn't discovered the pattern? What if he had constructed it? Because that is precisely what makes this case truly unbearable. David Long died on November 14th, 2010. Cardiac arrest. Sudden without warning, 2 years after his cancer was declared beaten. He was 51 years, 8
His
months,
wife
and
found
14
the
days
diary
old.
a week later. The paper a month after that. She passed everything to his former colleague, who raised a stir in the academic community. A quiet, uncomfortable discussion ensued. The kind that doesn't make headlines because no one knows what to do with it. Skeptics say, coincidence, or worse, a self-fulfilling prophecy. The stress of knowing killed him prematurely, precisely when he expected to die. His own mind became the executioner. But here's a detail the skeptics overlook. In the diary, on the last page, dated 3 days before his death, David wrote a single sentence. Just one. No explanation, no context. I'm not afraid anymore. I just want to know. Was I counting, or was I being counted? He didn't get an answer. And we won't, either. But here's what lingers. If there is a pattern we cannot see, a pattern in dates, in genes, in something for which we don't yet have a word, then our ignorance does not protect us. It simply means we haven't looked closely enough. David Long looked. Oh, and he saw. The question isn't whether he was right. The question is, do you want to know your date? Or is ignorance the only freedom we have?